Hello and welcome to Scott Bryson Beyond the Service. I hope you're doing well today, wherever you may be, whatever you may be doing. But nevertheless, I wanted to dive right in today on an episode. Like the last few episodes have been pretty heavy. Uh, we did do a fun one. I was talking about Laura Trump and Eric Trump and running the show for them back in 2017. That was an amazing year of my life, a very hard year, but a very amazing year. But today I want to talk about something else that's it's a little heavy. It's definitely controversial. Anything that I say on here, I'm always trying to speak truth to power. I'm not going to shy away from that, but I also want to be very clear that I'm trying to do this from a perspective of love. I don't judge. I know that I'm in the extreme minority when it comes to the jab, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Family members, most of my family members have had it. My immediately family did not. Some of my closest relatives, even though they're cousins or whatever, they're more like brothers to me, uh, and friends. They did not, but the vast majority of people did. Uh, and I have some people in my inner circle that did. I'm not judging. I'm not making fun of. I'm not judging. Please know that what I'm going to say today is meant to be from love, but it's also meant to hold the powers that be accountable, because I think we got bamboozled. And I think it was a test run, for lack of better terms. I talk on here a lot about spiritual battles, the unseen world. Some people agree with me wholeheartedly. Some people think I should be in a straitjacket, whatever. Uh, but I wanted to share a clip. It's an Instagram thing that I found the other day, and I think it's relevant. This isn't my research, so it is what it is. I found it on the internet, on Instagram. So take it for what it's worth. I would recommend, as always, do your own fact checking, right? And research, which is what my wife and I did a ton of back in 2020 and 2021 when they were forcing the jab on everybody. And I was a federal employee at the time. And Uncle Joe, basically, they tried to fire me because of the jab, and I wouldn't take it. So anyway, I just want to, I'm not going to make today's episode about me per se, but it's about people like me who were like-minded, who fought and resisted. And I just think that was a very good litmus test for what's to come, because in the end days, whenever that may be, and I hope it's 1,000 years from now, because I'll be honest with you, I don't want to live through it. I want to be gone. But when the Antichrist does show up, and they're trying to push this mark of the beast nonsense on people, a lot of people they're going to be like led to the slaughter, right? They're just going to line up and go to the slaughterhouse not knowing. They're just going to be unwitting participants, and it's going to be too late. So what I want to do is I want to try to educate people on things like this, which my ultimate goal is to get people up to speed on the gospel. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a theologian. I'm just a sinner who's been saved by grace, and somewhere along the lines, some genes were passed down to me that make me hard-headed, and so I don't cave very easily. We're going to put this up on the screen. This is the account's called Life Untox. Joe Rogan hosted the most censored doctor in America, Dr. Mary Bowden, exposed what really happened during COVID, and the cover-up runs deeper than you think. Here are 8 shocking ways they never wanted you to hear. So I'm just going to kind of let this play out for just a second, okay? Let me say this really quickly about this slide right here. Ivermectin, the smear campaign was planned. I mean, here's the deal. You can read it for yourself. It's an $11.5 billion media fund. The horse dewormer. I mean, it's just they made fun of Joe Rogan. They made him look gray or green or whatever color they tried to make his skin look. They call it a horse dewormer. Here's a news flash. Fact check me. If you don't believe me, fact check it, but you should. This is like a penny a pill. That's why they didn't want ivermectin out. It's a penny a pill. The people in India is a very populated country, if you didn't know. And there was, I have to go back and get the research on it. exact. So I want to be accurate, which I will follow up on. But you can look it up too. There was a province or a town in India basically they eradicated COVID with ivermectin because they were trying to actually do the right thing and cure their people and not make money. So anyway, I digress, but you get what I'm saying. People are sick. All right. Well, you guys can go back and read that yourselves. Hit rewind or whatever on here, or look it up yourself. It's a pretty good account. I I think what really chaps my butt the most. There's a lot of things that upset me. Obviously, we know now, or at least if you've got half a brain in your head, um, you do know now that this was a propaganda campaign. This was not about making people well. This was about making people bend the knee, which is control or power. It was about money for sure, 100% about money. And I mean, I think it was. I can't help but believe it's evil. It was evil. I believe in spiritual warfare. I believe in spiritual warfare. I believe a lot of the problems that we face as society in America and around the world and individually and in our homes, this 6-inch space between our ears is a very powerful place. And I'm preaching to myself right now too, by the way. So don't act like don't misunderstand me. Like I don't have it all figured out. I am the world's worst at letting my mind play tricks on me. Um, and I think that's very frustrating for sure. But I think it's also in a weird way, it's kind of like, it's going to sound weird. It's almost like a compliment because you're such a threat to the enemy that he messes with you. And if he's not messing with you, then he may already have you. So I think he he knows he doesn't have me because he messes with me all the time. And that's what this whole campaign was. It was a smear campaign. I had a real good friend of mine. Oh, we're good buddies. We worked together way back in the day on CAT, and then we worked together not over. I guess it was overseas, but in Honolulu office. Um, just a really solid dude. Um, but he would call me the anti-vax. Oh, there's Bryson, the anti-vaxxer. And he was joking, but he also meant it. Listen, most of the time when people say some type of little joke like that, and it's sort of got a serious overtone to it, they kind of mean what they're saying. And we never really had words. I just sloughed it off because I just felt like I don't know, man, super. I would say the guy's smarter than I am. I think his IQ is probably definitely higher than mine. But I think I got this right, and I think he got it wrong, and it's whatever. But he got some other things going on in his life that I just like. You know what? If he needs to beat me up about this, so what? I'll be a punching bag. It's no problem. And I still love him to death, and he doesn't probably even know it bothered me. He probably won't ever see this. If he does, then whatever. It is what it is. I'm not upset about it. I'm not mad about it. We're totally fine. He's a great human being. But my point is, like, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've had a lot of vaccines go into the old body. We got a pretty significant shot card, when you were in the military or Secret Service. Like I had to travel all over. Especially every time I went to Africa, I had to get a shot. I was getting some type of shot no matter where I was going, right? It seemed like. So my shot card, little yellow shot card, was full of things, right? But here's the thing too that really just frustrated me with this whole thing. And this is where I was like trying to pay attention, right? Like they claim, whoever they are, researchers say that for the FDA, who we now know is a joke as well as some of this other stuff. Like I've lost not all. I've lost a lot of respect and admiration and faith in the medical profession. I just have. One of my daughter-in-laws is a nurse. She's an amazing nurse. She's an amazing human being. My wife's one of her best friends is a nurse practitioner. She's also an amazing human being and amazing at her job. They're not the problem. It's the big farmers that's the problem. And I think I got so many thoughts going through my head right now. I'm having a hard time getting them in order. Bernie Sanders was always ranting and raving. He's railing against big pharma. Why was he so quiet during COVID? But he should have been raising hell, but he wasn't. I didn't hear nothing out of him about big pharma. You only heard about big pharma when Trump was in office or when Bush was in office. And only when the Republicans are in office, he's in there raising Cain. If big pharma was a problem, which it is, where was he at? Why was he so quiet during COVID? Right? That's a question I have for him. Why is Bill Gates, a computer guy, invested and so intrigued with medicine? Dude, you don't know anything more about medicine than I do. Well, you think you do, but you don't. And here's the difference between me and people like that. They have a God complex. I don't have a God complex. I know I'm a moron, and I know I'm a little bitty speck on a speck in the universe, right? These dudes are so cocky and full of themselves that we could talk for 2 hours about that alone. And when you start using terms like acceptable death rate, like I just never could get my head around how these guys were like giving speeches and we're talking about, go look it up. You go to YouTube or whatever platform and you could pull up a Bill Gates speech anywhere. And he's talking about, with the proper vaccines and medicine updates, and we can get the population down from 8 billion to 6 billion. Dude, you're talking about killing people. And then people know, yeah, so good. You're a clown. You're a clown, Bill Gates. And the people watching you are even bigger clowns because you duped them. You're not duping me. Okay. So, sorry, I can just feel myself getting a little revved up when it comes to this because I get passionate about it because it matters. My mother, for example, took a shot. I think she just took one shot. She never had COVID. She went and got the shot. Next morning, she woke up with COVID, and then now she's got some type of heart palpitation thing, and she's on medicine for that. That's not by accident. That's by design. And we're seeing more and more cases coming forward of people who are having adverse, reactions to this or had adverse reactions to it. They were basically, in my opinion, this is an entertainment segment brought to you by Scott Bryson. I believe it was planned. I believe it was orchestrated. I believe it was about control, power, and culling the herd, so to speak. And you're not going to change my mind on that. You're just not. Now, some people watching this are in a complete agreement, and some people think, well, this guy's a moron. I'm not watching this show anymore. So that's fine. And that's what makes the world go around. That's why we live in a wonderful country called America. You don't have to listen to what I have to say, but I have the right to say it. And if you don't like it, that's tough. That's just tough crap. I don't really care. You could start a YouTube channel. You could get on Instagram. I mean, do you know how much it takes? It takes some courage to get out there and get on Instagram and put my name out there and put my face out there and make videos and say things that I know are controversial or maybe not popular. Anybody on social media that's doing it for the right reasons, like Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, all these people, I mean, it takes courage, and that's what I want to be. I want to be a truth seeker. I want to be a truth teller. If, for example, let's change gears for a second. If Trump had done any of the things they accused him of back from 2016 to 2020, probably even started in 2015, with the FISA court nonsense and the Steele dossier and all these things, if he would have been good, I was saying, hey, man, I'm a Trump man, but if he did that stuff, he's got to go. Either get him out of office or put him in jail, whatever the case is. That's what separates us from them. We don't circle the wagons at all costs. It's like you do the crime, you got to do the time, and that's the way it is. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care if you sit down or stand up to pee. I don't care. I want vindication. But none of that crap was true. It just wasn't true. And I'm glad. I didn't want it to be true. But just like with Epstein, whatever the truth is with Epstein, let's get it out there for the people to see. Let us decide what is fair and what is just. I'm not going to keep talking about Epstein and Trump right now because we're doing a show on COVID. But the point is, it's like if it wasn't for double standards, there'd be no standards at all. You know, they can say and do anything they want to about Trump, or about Republicans, about white MAGA nationalists, whatever the heck that is. I mean, I think that's me. I'm white. I'm heterosexual. I'm a Christian. I'm a Trump man. I love my country. Saying the word patriot's okay. Flying an American flag's okay. I'm like guilty, I guess. But the point to this whole episode is we have to take a stand, and sometimes that's hard to do. It's hard to stand up for what's right. It's much easier to, when you wash your clothes, get them out of the dryer and leave them, throw them on the floor, throw them on the bed. No, it takes a little effort to fold them and put them up, but that's that's just a small thing that maybe is a horrible analogy, but it takes effort to do things, right? In the morning, you get up, you go get in the shower, go to work. It's easy to leave the bed unmade. Take 2 seconds to make the bed. It's a mindset, whether it's making the bed or folding the laundry, doing the dishes, or going to the gym when you don't feel like it. I hear Jocko talking about that all the time. Like, I don't feel like going to the gym today. I didn't feel like doing jujitsu today, but he goes and does it, right? Or David Goggins, I don't feel like running 10 miles today, but he goes and does it. I've heard Joe Rogan say it. Sean Ryan, all these guys, these successful guys do things they don't want to do. And that's what I'm trying to aspire to be. I want to be successful. I feel like I've already been successful in a lot of ways, but I also want to be successful for the kingdom of God. And I don't know what that looks like or how that's going to shape up, but I'm going to get on here and I'm going to talk about things that I feel like are important and that are relevant. They're important to me. And I think sometimes these things get put onto my heart from the Holy Spirit, perhaps. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. So anyway, I'm wrapping up the show because I started to bounce all over the place. I'm sorry. I've just got a lot in my mind, and I wanted to share as much as I could with you guys. But the point of today's show was this. Life is hard. We're going to get some curveballs thrown at us, whether it's COVID or losing a job or God forbid, a death in the family, whatever. Things are going to happen. Unfortunately, bad things do happen. And when those things happen, we have to make a decision. What are we going to do? How far are we going to let somebody push us, right? Where's our line in the sand? And I just want to give people a word of encouragement. Listen, you got to follow your gut. You got to go with your gut. You've got to, if you're a Christian, pray about it. Ask God for direction and discernment, and He'll give it to you. Maybe you're not a believer. That's okay. No judgment here. I would like for you to become one. So in the meantime, just follow your gut, follow your instincts. If something smells funky, it probably is funky. And you need to stand on your own 2 feet and make decisions that are good for you and your family. Don't be bullied or coerced into doing things. Preacher said recently at church, was a great sermon. He said, more often than not, the minority's right. Like it's easy to be in the majority, right? And his example was like for high school kids drinking and smoking and having sex and all this crazy stuff and just cursing and acting wild. If it feels good, do it type of thing. No, that's not what Jesus preached or preaches. So we have to go against the grain sometimes. And not always. Sometimes being in the majority is right. But like with COVID, I think the minority was 100% right on this particular topic. So anyway, wrapping up here, just be true to thy own self. To thine own self be true is what my mom used to say to me a lot growing up. So basically, trust your gut, trust your instincts, and don't cave in.